Hi guys, today I'm doing a video I had requested actually. One of my viewers had requested me to do a video about things I judge people for. And I know that kind of sounds mean in the beginning, but when you think about it, it's not meant to be like that. Now, obviously, judging people isn't something good. It's something I like to consider myself not to do, and I don't think I do it in a necessarily negative way, but I think everyone does judge to some extent. You might not think you're judging, it might not even be something that's always conscious. Obviously, I'm not judging people, and I don't think anyone should judge people based on race or religion, gender, sexual orientation, job, class, anything like that. Obviously, I don't think is something right to judge people on, but there's certain things that I do judge people for. Some of them are very funny, and some of them are very, very serious. I'm gonna leave the video that actually this was inspired by below. It was very good. I agreed with everything she said, and I didn't want to step on her toes and take all her answers, but some of them I had to repeat. I have 10 things here, I think. 11 actually. So we'll see if I'm a bad person. Okay, so the first one is bad driving, and I think that's something I judge people for to an extent. I could like to consider myself a good driver, but yes, obviously I've made mistakes. There's time where I'm thinking I'm so aware and I'm not, and obviously you can't be aware of everything. Things are out of your control sometimes, but for the most part, certain bad driving things I think are controllable. I think that some people are just stupid, and some people are just unaware, and it's annoying. When you're driving, you can't take that risk. You can't text and drive. I mean, the fact that I see people text and drive, like I'm honestly going to tell you right now, I do not text while I'm moving in a car. I go on the highway sometimes, it's 80 miles an hour, and I see people texting right in front of their face. It's not even like they're trying to hide it. I saw a girl the other day at a green light, going through the green light, taking a selfie, driving. And I just don't, like, what? You're not only taking your own life at risk, but also everyone else on the road. Think about right now, you might think, oh, well, if something happens to me, like, I'll be fine. Well, A, you don't know that, and B, you could hit like a mother and her child. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. People are always texting and driving, and it drives me nuts. What a pun. But that's something I really judge people hardcore on. Like, if you are texting and driving, I'm judging you. You are not a good person to some extent. Like, you have to be thinking, yes, I know that it's a risk to take, like, but you're still doing it. And then also the people who go in and out of lanes, especially without blinkers, but who just like pass everyone to get in front, that person deserves to get a ticket. Like, and take your license away. Like, what are you doing? You're actively thinking, okay, I'm just gonna speed in and out of all of these lanes. What if one of those people wasn't aware? You know, like, what if one of those people wasn't thinking? What if one of those people is texting and hits you, and then you both die? Like, that's not okay. The other day I was driving with my mom and my brother in a car. I was going down the street normal, and a car, there's a stop sign here, and a car went right through the stop sign and literally just like was out right in front of me. I had to like speed right around them. It was really scary because if I wasn't aware, if I had been texting and driving, we would have collided and someone could have gotten seriously hurt. So if you're texting and driving, I'm hardcore judging you, and I'm not taking this lightly because it's something I really find shocking. When I drive down the highway and see 8 out of 10 people texting and driving, it's a real problem. I'm surprised there's not more accidents every 2 seconds, like in every street. Number 2, something I judge people on, and I don't always, but I'd say 80% of the time I do, and that's oversharing on social media. And I know I share a lot on like my videos and stuff, but this is for people who are tuning in to see that. I don't really share much on my other social media, like maybe my opinions on TV shows and stuff, but I'm talking about like real personal stuff. Like if you are in a fight with your boyfriend, some people like when they're going through something, like I get if like you're really going through something and you want to thank everyone for being there for you, and like to an extent, obviously I understand, but if you and your boyfriend are fighting, and you like write a mean status about him, and like, or you put like, oh, I'm so bummed out, and then someone's like, oh, like what's the matter? And like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, can you not though? Like, can you not? That's like really immature. That's like MySpace status. Like that's like way back. Like I get teenagers when they do it, and I still judge them, but when adults do it, like anyone my age and older, when they do it, I cringe. Like, oh, like I'm, like I can't. Like, if you're a parent and you're sharing photos of your baby, go for it. If you're sharing that you got married, go for it. I don't mind coupley pictures. I find it very, very, like, immature, and I definitely judge people for that. I think it's, like, just so weird. Like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you sharing something that personal with people who you may not really, like, unless you're friends, like, really best friends with 800 people on Facebook? I mean, I don't know. Okay, this one's a bit more serious, and this is something I've talked about before, but cheating and ghosting are definitely 2 things I judge people for. I don't get it. I don't think there's any excuse. I think cheating is just unacceptable, and I don't get how people do it and just think that it's okay. And I totally approve of like open relationships, and if you and like whoever you're with are cool with that, or like you want to hook up with a bunch of different people, go for it. I'm not judging you for that. But if you were in a relationship and the person thinks you're being faithful and you're not, I'm judging you. And if you cheat and you lie to someone, I'm judging you. I definitely judge people for that. I judge people for ghosting. Anyone who would do that, I just find to be a coward. Okay, number 4 is I judge people who judge people for other reasons. So if you're judging someone for their race, their gender, their sexual orientation, but when it comes to things that aren't any of your business, that aren't hurting anyone, that's when it makes me judge you. Like the people who judge people for things that they shouldn't be judging them for, I judge them. Did that make sense? I don't know. Number 5, I judge people who write mean comments in the YouTube comments or Twitter or Instagram. I don't get it. I think that that's just really messed up. I think there's absolutely no reason for it. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. I get comments almost every day lately, and this didn't always happen, but lately that I'm so thin. You're so skinny. Eat something. Eat something. You need to gain some weight. You have no body mass. Gain some weight. You're disgusting. I've been getting those comments at least 4 times a week lately. Anyone who would do that, I judge you hardcore. Like there's obviously something wrong in your life to be doing that, and it's just like being a bully. Like yes, there's some excuse, like people say like, oh, bullies and people who are mean like have something going on in their own life. There's only an excuse to some extent. Like I've had plenty of bad stuff happen to me in my life, but you don't see me going and like writing mean comments on people's YouTube channels. You know, like there's to a point where you can't blame it on experiences and things that have happened in your life. You can control and have the will to change or not do things like that. Like you can control your own behaviors. Next, I think something that everyone judges people for, and I'm hoping kind of that you do, to be honest. If you hurt animals or children or really anyone, like physically, that's not cool. Like if you hurt animals, if you don't like animals, like if you don't watch those Sarah McLachlan animal ASPCA commercials and you don't cry, there's something wrong with you. I don't really get it. Like I don't care if you're not like an animal person, like, you know, if you don't like having animals around, it's just not your thing, cool, whatever. But like if you don't treat animals well, I judge you hardcore. Anyone who's not easy to deal with, whether it's an older person or a person who might have special needs, like yes, it does take a certain amount of patience to have a pet or have a child or deal with someone who has special needs or even the elderly, but everyone deserves your respect. And if you can't respect animals and children and anyone else in the world, then I judge you because there's a problem there. Number 7 is I judge people who smoke. Anyone who smokes cigarettes, I judge you. And it's not if you're like, 70 or 80 and you've been smoking since you were like 13 when people didn't know it was bad and like you got addicted, like I get once you're addicted, but anyone who started smoking in the last 30 years or so, I judge you. Why would you even start smoking when you knew it was bad for you? You're putting yourself at risk, anyone around you at risk, but letting yourself even get addicted at this day and age, like why? And the amount of people I still see who smoke is like, it blows my mind. People who are like my age, like why did you ever start? Like you knew it could kill you. Okay, number 8 is something I want to say I judge people for, and it is to an extent, like most things. There's obviously, and it's not completely all black and white, it has a gray area, but people who don't communicate. I tend to judge people who don't communicate. Just because maybe to me, it's something that comes so naturally, it's something that I think is so easy to communicate with other human beings, tell them how you feel. People in relationships, like I get relationships don't work out, and I get when you're with the wrong person, it brings out the worst in both people, but there is other cases where you're in a friendship, you're at work, but I cannot tell you how many times I've had friends or family members complain to me about something, but they never do anything about it. Like talk to someone. You're complaining about a coworker. Have you talked to them? Have you confronted them in a calm manner? No. Sometimes that doesn't help. Sometimes communicating with people can't fix the problem. Like I get it. But if you haven't even tried, I think people really just do need to communicate better. And I don't get how people don't realize that. Any movie you've ever seen or TV show or life situation could have probably been sorted out if 2 people sat down and communicated their feelings honestly. And I judge people for not being aware of that. And my mom says that to me all the time. She's like, that just doesn't come naturally to everyone else. And it bugs me. It bugs the hell out of me. Like I do judge people for not seeing the obvious things that I see. And it's annoying because I don't want to judge people for that, and it does make my patience a little less than it should be. And I know it's not easy, I know it can make things difficult, and I know people want to avoid confrontation, but you're not necessarily creating an argument or creating drama. There's the drama there, there's tension, it builds up and builds up and builds up, and that's why people explode and scream at each other and say things they don't mean and make situations 10 times worse. When you first were feeling, I might want to break up with someone, or I don't think our relationship is going well, if you first said that to them, Yes, some people don't take it well. Yes, some people will flip out, but if everyone just communicated more often, maybe they wouldn't. Okay, number 9 is I judge you if you sign up for a reality show. And now, not to say that I really judge people in a negative way for this, but if there's celebrities that are singers, that are actors, that didn't necessarily want the fame of being that as their occupation. They just are talented, and fame comes along with that. If you sign up for a reality show, you know what you're getting into. You know, like, there's no chance, no matter how many producers tell you, oh, it's going to be so tasteful, you know what you're signing up for. So I don't really feel bad for those people. When I watch Bachelor, Bachelorette, I know these people are real people, and there's people I am fans of from the show, like Nick, for example, who's going to be the new Bachelor. I'm so excited. I do judge people for that, because you are putting your life out there. I do feel bad that, like, those shows are meant for drama, and I do live tweet them, and there is judgments that I make for sure based on people's outfit and based on people's eyebrows and their hair and their behavior. But I feel like when you're on a show like that, like, just like I judge characters on TV, I'm not judging the actor but the character, and that's kind of what these reality shows are. Those people that are on that show aren't the people that you are watching. Like, when I watch these shows, the producers created a character based on this person, like 1 or 2 aspects of the personality. They created a character off of it, and they produced that, and that's what I'm judging. I'm not actually judging the person in real life, if that makes sense. Okay, number 10 is something I hardcore judge people for, and I feel bad about it because it's not, because I know a lot of people who watch this probably are going to be like, what the hell, why would you judge people for that? But screaming fans, that is something I do not understand one bit in my life. Like, screaming fans, like, that's something, it's like, okay, I really like you a lot, so what I'm going to do is stand here in front of you and scream at the top of my lungs. What? I find it so crazy. Like, literally, it's one thing to scream and applaud at the end of someone's performance, but throughout the entire performance? Like, what? Why? I don't get it. If I ever was famous, like, I would tell my fans, don't do that. I don't want that. I would be mad. I would be very upset. When I would see, like, Zoella would go to her book signings when her books came out, and she would have these streets filled with fans screaming. What is that? That, to me, is crazy. Like, I am hardcore judging that. I mean, when I say judging, I think it's also something these are things I just don't understand. Like, I can never give a reason for any of these things. If I were to meet anyone, like, whether it was, like, my biggest, like, actor crush, I wouldn't scream. I would probably be nervous, but that's normal. But I wouldn't go up to them and scream. I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so great to meet you, and probably stutter and, like, slur over my words a bit and be very nervous and awkward, but I wouldn't scream at the top of my lungs. Like, I don't get that. If you love someone, like, if you loved your boyfriend, would you ever go up to him and just scream in his face and be like, ah, like, what? The last one is number 11, and that is I judge people for not recycling. It's not that hard. You're saving the planet, and it might not be obvious. People might not be thinking, oh, the planet's dying, but when I was a kid, I didn't think I would be on the planet when the planet had a real problem from global warming, but now as I get older, I'm thinking I may be here when this planet is no longer this planet. People need to, like, step up their game. Like, how many times have you gone out in public, seen a garbage can filled with plastic bottles? You know those stores aren't separating that out and recycling it. Like, I went to the beach recently, and there was a recycle bin and a garbage can literally right next to each other. It says what goes in each one right on it, but yet people are putting it in the wrong one. Like, are you really that lazy? This world is crumbling. You might not be completely aware. There's a problem there. There's a disconnect, and there's something going wrong, and we may not be realizing it because it's not like, oh, there's a meteor hitting you in the backyard, but that's gonna happen eventually. Like, there's a problem here we need to fix, and recycling is stepping up that game. But that was my last thing. I judge people for all these things. Please let me know in a comment if you judge people for these things, or what you judge people for. I'll leave, like I said, the video this was inspired by below, so definitely go and check that out. I thought it was a very, very good video. If you did like this, please give it a thumbs up, especially if you agree with me on the things I judge people for. Subscribe to see more from me. I do rants, makeup, fashion, hair, pretty much everything. And I think that's all. My camera's about to die, so it's perfect timing. I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!